What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Guys, we're back here. We're in South Sweden. Came across this video. Had somebody sent me, they commented a video that they requested for me to react to. I was going to check out one of them. I think I kind of already did like a year or two ago, but it was more like a drone video type. But shout out to Simon Hansen. Wanted me to check out Kalmar and Öland in Sweden, southern part of Sweden. But came across this video, Danish musing, I think that's how you say it. Let y'all see it real quick. Danish musing. This is the channel right here. She's visiting Öland, Kalmar, and Kristianstad. So we checking this out, 20 minutes. So get a good lens. Look like she's driving, so that's pretty cool. Just to see what we're gonna see on the road. I'm usually doing walk-in videos and stuff, but let's check this out. Y'all hit that subscribe button. Check out her videos as well. Subscribe to her channel. Yeah, this should be good. This should be interesting.
After a trip to Southern Europe, which was delightful but also hot, and where we went by airplane, we decided that any other trip this summer would be by car.
Bridge.
That would automatically be a cooler destination because it would mean staying in Northern Europe. We decided on Sweden, our Nordic neighbor to the east, where we've been several times before. Our two countries are connected historically, which I'll elaborate on a bit later. But they're also literally connected via a bridge, the Öland Bridge. The island I live on is connected to Zealand, the island that Copenhagen is located on, via a bridge as well.
I know I heard in some other recent videos that pretty much the southern part of Sweden, I may be wrong, but I'm sure I heard, I wouldn't say all of, but some of the parts were actually Danish. Some of the parts were actually a part of Denmark until I think there was like a fee that has to be paid or something like that Sweden has to pay Denmark or something.
So this
is what I heard in one of the videos. I know it's been a minute since I heard it. That's why
if also a bit expensive, because the toll on both bridges is surprisingly, and one might add, unnecessarily expensive. After crossing the two bridges, we arrived in Kristianstad in the afternoon. A pleasant town with not so much happening. We found a place to have lunch, which felt delightfully like stepping into a coffee shop in Vienna. Kristianstad, or Kristianstad, is named after the Danish king Christian IV, who founded the town in 1614. The rectangular Renaissance web of streets in the center of town can still be seen.
I wonder if you can see Denmark from there. It'll be kept on a leash.
We spent the rest of the day walking around and enjoying the peaceful atmosphere.
That do seem very peaceful.
It was a town made for walking. Almost everyone we met said "hey" to us, and we were reminded that Sweden is such a friendly country. Sweden was the first country my youngest daughter ever visited when she was 6 months old. And her name, too, was arrived at by way of Emil fra Lönneberg. Emil from Lönneberg, one of Astrid Lindgren's wonderful books of stories, in which Emil's mother is called Alma. My great-grandmother was from Sweden, and our house is Swedish.
Oh, wow. So she got I'm sure she's, like I said, probably live in Denmark, just by the name of her channel and stuff. But it seems like she can resonate a lot, even with Sweden. Like I said, when I was in Denmark, and I was on the train station. When I was at the train station, it didn't take that long to get to Sweden. Like I said, I know it was like a 30-minute train ride, but it felt, I promise, it felt very shorter than that, man. Like, it's crazy how you can really see another country across the water. I think that's pretty cool.
So we feel connected to this country that is a lot like Denmark, but is also distinctly different.
Yeah. But see, she's in the southern part, so I feel like it's still kind of more. It's unusual to go to another
country and still be able to speak your own language.
6 million Danes at least.
My daughter didn't always understand the Swedes, and they notoriously claim not to understand Danish. but we were understood by everyone we talked to during those days.
I think it's different times. That's probably why. Our hotel, King Christian, the fourth
there
hotel.
There were free snacks and tea back at our hotel, and we had a casual supermarket dinner and an early night.
Oh, snap. So is this like a... It almost looked like a castle type of hotel. That's pretty cool. I feel like I've seen a building kind of similar to this when I was in Sweden, in Stockholm. So I was walking by doing those boat tours. But this is pretty cool. I wonder how long that hotel been there.
There were free snacks and tea back at our hotel, and we had a casual supermarket dinner and an early night. The next day we crossed one more bridge to our final destination, Öland, and the little town of Färjestad. Our hotel was a lovely yellow wooden house, and the town was peaceful but not dull. We unpacked and then went exploring down by the small marina.
Nice. I should have went here.
Looked promising.
Oh, look what they selling over there. Some churros.
We went into an antique shop and were reminded of two small old tables we have at home that we bought for a song in Sweden years ago. It felt entirely tempting to get a Swedish souvenir, but we really need no more furniture.
I know that feeling. When you want something but don't need it. Seems pretty peaceful out here. People in the water.
Then we had our first ice cream, glass, as it's called in Swedish.
Licorice ice cream.
And went on a little walkabout in the more residential parts of town.
Skansen. Oh, I think I've heard of Skansen. That's pretty cool.
There were swoon-worthy...
It's crazy because even when I was in Denmark, this almost reminded me, my hotel was, I was walking, because I was just wandering around. That first day I made it back to Denmark, I was just wandering around, and I ended up walking around in neighborhoods and stuff. I was like, oh snap, I might need to turn around. I was just in the neighborhood,
there were
walking around people's
houses around every corner. And there was also a little loppis, a garage sale, around nearly every corner.
Oh.
This is how we found those tables years ago, and the loppis abound in Sweden.
Loppis, I think that's my first time hearing that word.
We soon agreed that, as we had seen before, the Swedes are better at appreciating old things. Better than the Danes at any rate. Whether it be houses, cars or furniture. Something we appreciate. We saw more old Volvos during those 5 days than we see in a year in Denmark.
Wow.
Again, there was free coffee and tea and cookies at our hotel. As if it's a basic human right in Sweden to have your warm beverage and cookies. Another thing we found it easy to appreciate.
Maybe a free
We drove to a village called Mörbylånga.
Mörbylånga.
Another village filled with beautiful traditional wooden houses.
It looks so small. Mailboxes.
As well as one of the wooden mills that we saw all over the island.
Look at that.
It was another quiet place. Quaint, cozy, but real.
It seemed very
not
quiet
an
around
open-air
there.
museum.
I wonder if this is one of the places I seen when I was watching Autospheria. It looked like this neighborhood. Sure, somebody was from this area.
We visited mainly small communities on this trip, and Sweden, like all countries, is many things.
Oh, so look at that. I wonder how old that is.
The country has faced a number of challenges in recent years, and things are of course different in the cities.
Can only imagine.
But I will still continue to claim that it's one of the easiest countries to visit. That it's pleasant, and that people are down to earth, friendly, and often quite nice to look at. As is the whole country.
Nice to look at. Whoa, what's that?
There was also great.
How do you pronounce that word? That seemed pretty. Himsbarsgarden. Himsbarsgarden. I don't know. That's 1828.
There was also great food to be had.
And burger and chips.
On day 3, we visited Bornholm, a castle ruin further up north on the island.
Dang.
The castle foundation dates back to the 12th century, when it was mainly a fortress, a defense against pirates and other hostile foreigners.
Whoa. Dang.
In the 16th century, it was turned into a Renaissance palace. But war in the early...
It's crazy how these things like still stand and the material they use. I just remember just walking around and just seeing, like, just looking at the material. Like, even the wood back then looked stronger than the wood nowadays. Like, it's crazy.
Between Sweden and Denmark damaged the castle, and it was gradually turned into a hunting
like they have
castle.
concerts there or something.
It was more or less forgotten for years, until a new owner began to restore it in the early 1800s, with the aim of turning it into a Baroque palace. Only a few years into the restoration, though, there was a fire, and the castle burned to the ruin that it is now.
Oh, dang.
What it looked like
Dang, I could just imagine.
My daughter...
And I like watching, I watched the series Viking, watching Game of Thrones, all that, just looking at castles and stuff. I think that's pretty cool, man. But I could just imagine, like, how this thing looked back then. Dang, look at that.
What it looked like
Imagine living in a castle.
My daughter got major Maze Runner vibes, as she called it,
Maze
from a
Runner.
dystopian movie called The Maze Runner, where
Maze Runner is a good movie.
a group of young people
I like
are captured inside a kind of meadow surrounded by huge walls that form a maze. I could completely see what she meant. The walls were so high they almost felt oppressive.
Definitely can't jump over
We just walked around and enjoyed the view and felt impressed that people had been able to build a structure this immense over 800 years ago.
All right. Man, 800 years. That's a long
From
time.
Bornholm Castle, we walked over to Solliden, the summer residence of the Swedish royal family. The house itself is closed to the public, but the garden is open, and it was delightful.
Oh. You go in the garden? Man,
We
it's
love
so
visiting
nice
places
around
like
this time.
this
Look at
when we
those flowers.
And I'm so grateful that even my teenage daughter is able to appreciate the beauty and the quiet of such a garden. Or at least go along with it and acknowledge that gardens are worthy destinations.
Mm-hmm. And it's crazy as you get older how you start really enjoying peace and quiet, you know? I just remember being young, being loud. Hopefully I don't try not to be loud in this mic. I'm probably loud in this mic, but you really enjoy just the vibes. When I was walking to see the what's the name ship? I forgot the name of it that fast. Like it was so nice and peaceful. Nice day out. Of course, not too many people out at the time, but when I went into the museum, it was packed. It was packed when I went to see that big old ship. But outside of it, you know, as I was approaching it, it was just beautiful sceneries everywhere. The sun was out like 65 degrees, perfect weather. I could have just sat there and just laid in the grass and chilled. Did a little picnic
I guess
by
as
myself.
parents,
That's how
we
peaceful
always
it
hope
was.
to plant little seeds, no pun intended, and being able to feel delight is a valuable skill, I feel.
Look at that. I like that. The fountain out there.
The house itself is not built
Some
in the
beautiful
Swedish
flowers.
style at all, but apparently in the style of houses on the island of Capri.
Capri.
This didn't make it look out of place in my eyes, but serene.
Dang.
The palace was built by the Swedish Queen Victoria in 1906, and it's easy to see the
1906.
Italian inspiration in the geometrical Renaissance garden at the top.
I like it. That would have been me I would have taken a selfie by that statue. Oh, what is that?
The The lower part is inspired more by English parks and gardens, and there's also a little Dutch garden.
And got the Dutch garden.
I documented the names of some of the roses, in case any of the rose and garden lovers out there wanted to copy the Swedish royal family.
Crown princess.
I noticed they had a number of English roses.
Look at those.
The wonderful thing about strolling around in a garden like that is that there isn't anything to do. You're visiting a garden. You're not being productive at all. You have no deadline. It's simply there for you to take in the beauty.
Royal Jubilee.
And breathe. And just be. It feels downright medicinal.
Dutch garden.
I remembered reading some years ago about places in Sweden where psychiatric patients were sent into gardens to heal.
Oh yeah, and it's like you kind of see that in movies too. They do that a lot in movies. You'll see them probably in one of the establishments and like a big old garden outside, you know.
And judging from my own calm heartbeat and sense of delight and just presence, I think it's not far-fetched to believe that gardens can have an almost dramatic effect on our mental health.
Oh wow, look at that. Got art out there too. I just think it's very peaceful. I think that's what we all search for, some peace.
We drove down some country byroads on our way back, and that's where you often find the best things. This Airbnb, for instance.
Oh.
And I want to make clear that it's not often I drive and film at the same time. Only when I crawl by at a snail's pace and there's no other traffic. Which I dare say you can't find many places in the world. But you can find it in Sweden. In the evening there was a small concert or sing-along event at our hotel. Something we would never sign up for at home, but we did here. And it was fun to watch many of the locals bringing chairs and the backs of their bikes to sit in the grounds of the hotel.
Pretty nice.
Young and old gathered there, and we had to book a table at our hotel restaurant to make sure we got seats.
Hey.
Dinner was amazing.
Whoa,
and when the concert ended
good.
An hour after it began and people quietly packed up and left, we mused that in Denmark, people would have carried on for another 2 hours, drank more beer, and been much more noisy.
Yeah, I know when I was in Denmark, when I went back at least, I think Denmark was playing, someone. They had a soccer game. It's like the first game of the season, I believe, you know, especially since, well, I don't think they do. I think maybe it's some type of cup thing going on for soccer. I'm not sure. I don't usually keep up with soccer, but it was a lot of people. You know, wearing their jerseys and stuff like that. I almost bought one. I was real close to buying one. But like you said, people were telling me to go find bars. I think I was just around the areas where people were walking around, I guess, getting stuff to prepare for the game. But nobody was really, I didn't see any like bars where they were watching a game or anything.
We went for an evening walk down by the Little
Well, I did see people because I was so thirsty at like 1 o'clock. People were still
Marina
eating pizza. So
the next day, we drove across the bridge to the mainland to visit the town of Kalmar, which has won prizes for its historical town center, and which is at the heart of a historical treaty between the 3 Scandinavian countries dating back to 1397.
Dang!
The year before, the 3 kingdoms of Sweden, Norway, and Denmark had signed a treaty under the auspices of the Danish Queen Margaret I that established the Kalmar Union, where all 3 realms and parts of modern Finland were ruled by one monarch, the Danish. The 3 countries retained their separate identities in domestic matters, but joined forces in economic and foreign policies. The union lasted for 126 years, until the Swedish king Gustav Vasa left it in 1593. I can recommend the Scandinavian or Danish movie Margrethe den Første or Margaret the First for insight into that era. The castle itself is from the end of the 12th century.
Got the castle with the bridge. I wonder if it was water under there.
It was an overcast, windy day, and later it began to rain. But it didn't deter us from walking around the town. First down to the castle by the harbour where that treaty was signed. Then later, just down random streets. With our castle visit from the day before still fresh in our minds, we decided to forego a visit to the inside of the castle, despite the weather, and instead walked around the old part of town, enjoying once again all the original wooden houses, the type of houses that so inspired our own choice of house.
Yeah, I wonder how long those houses been around.
Often when we travel, we make a kind of mental list of good towns and places to visit, and places you can give a miss. Kalmar definitely made the list of places to visit.
Seemed quiet out there as well.
Despite being the same size as Kristianstad, it somehow had a lot more to offer, we felt. Sorry, Kristianstad.
Kristianstad. And it's a rainy day. Still look nice out there though. Those rainy days. I mean, I think it rained like twice when I was in Sweden, but it wasn't enough to really just stop you.
We found a little bakery, or konditori.
Oh, that looked good.
Which is more of a patisserie with cakes and confectionaries, which they have a lot of in Sweden, and which we always pay a visit.
You are a fine human being.
We decided to treat ourselves to new towels, and with the exchange rate between Swedish and Danish kroner being very favorable just then, we saved quite a bit.
That's nice. I feel like when I was in Sweden, I walked down these type of streets and stuff. I think, man, I miss it. I miss being there, man. I'm not gonna lie. I'm definitely gonna go for a longer period of time next year. Got to be like a 2-week thing.
Kalmar only has a population of about 40,000, same as Kristianstad. But we've often found that such numbers say little about a town. Instead, perhaps it's the history of a place that permeates it. And certainly Kalmar has plenty of that.
Take a break. Yeah, I think somebody was from here too. When I was watching Oscarsferia, somebody had to be.
In the evening, back at Färjestaden, there was a kind of automobile show down by the marina.
Oh.
And we were once again reminded of a wonderful Swedish movie called Ängelgården, or House of Angels in English.
Oh, a Texas license plate? Oh.
With its mix of old wooden houses and old...
Oh, maybe this... I know they had I did a video over, like, it was like an American car show. American Cars type of thing. Man, look at that.
Again, something we would never glance at back home, but the rules are different when you travel.
That's true.
It's all part of the cultural experience.
Yeah, it's something about when you travel, you start doing things that you wouldn't normally do at home, which is, to me, I feel like it seemed normal because when you go out of town and stuff, you don't want to eat the same foods that you would eat at home. Even though I wouldn't say I kind of did. I was trying to try new places and stuff, especially for lunch and all that. But
our last evening meal on Öland was the biggest Caesar salad I've ever had at a restaurant by the marina. We watched some of the cars leave afterwards.
That was some nice cars,
then walked back to our hotel to pack, more than a little reluctant to leaving the following day.
That looked like the first car ever. See a Corvette out there.
We may have passed a real estate agent or two, just to browse.
Wow, look at that one. Is that a motorcycle with a truck back? What in the world?
Just to browse.
Okay, I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. That is a crazy build. It's like a motorcycle, but with a trunk. I don't think I've seen nothing like that. That's different. Wow. Or a car type of back. Dang. Yeah, I've seen a lot of cars in my lifetime. Never seen nothing like that motorcycle.
The parents went for a last walk in the pleasant little town so the teenager could have some alone time. We had already gotten used to the quiet pace, and had it not been for our daughter, who missed her friends, we might have stayed on in Sweden. On our way back to Denmark the next day, we made a pit stop in Malmö, Sweden's third largest city, to cut the 5.5-hour drive in two, which is normal when you're from a small country.
KFC.
The city is only 30 kilometers from Copenhagen, and we heard so many Danes, I felt like I was already back in Denmark. It felt completely different from Kalmar and the little villages we visited on Öland.
Danish fashion.
We went into a lovely shop called Småland, named after the Astrid Lindgren part of Sweden, and felt tempted to buy something, but didn't.
That's how I was.
Sometimes it's the idea of bringing something home from abroad that appeals rather than the thing itself. And also, we had bought all those towels. They would have to serve as Swedish souvenirs.
Just for now. Like, we'll be back to get some more. No, it was definitely tough going to the stores, and I was just like, my bag was so full, I couldn't really take nothing back. Although I wanted to. Very bad. Oh, wow. That's a very old
Astrid Lindgren, the author of Pippi Longstocking, by the way, is featured on the Swedish 20 krona note. In that connection, another Nordic movie I can highly recommend is Astrid, or Young Astrid, about one of my favorite Swedes ever.
Nice.
Tack så mycket, Sverige. Till next time.
Tack. No, this was actually a good video. Very chill, peaceful. I know it wasn't really up tempo, nothing like that, nothing crazy, but it just showed like the video was peaceful. The places she went to, which was Kalmar, even Malmo. Malmo seemed like a little bit more people there. Öland, very peaceful, man. That's my goal. Going back, staying a little longer for sure. I know I didn't get to see everything, but that was my first time. Getting to do that. So I was just like, I feel like I know what to do now. But I enjoyed this. Y'all make sure y'all subscribe to her channel. I gave it a thumbs up and I subscribed. That's what I'm doing right now. But yeah, this was nice. I feel like this was very relaxing. It was a very relaxing video, man. I don't know. I feel, you have those peaceful moments and stuff like that. That's what I'm feeling right now. It just seems so relaxing, so calm and stuff. But it was good. This was real good, man. I hope y'all enjoyed this. Like I said, wanted to check out some more southern Sweden. As I mentioned, it didn't take long from Denmark to some of those southern parts. And I probably seen some of these just passing by on the train and stuff, because I was up. I rarely took a nap on the train, and it was just cool to see. Just how quick we got to Sweden from where I was in Copenhagen, and just making every stop. Every stop was totally different. There was sometimes you seen houses, there was sometimes you seen nothing. Even just going through those tunnels, I don't know if I mentioned it in a video or not. Going through those tunnels, man, it did something to my ears. It was crazy. It did something to my ears for sure. But I enjoyed the train ride, because that was actually my first time really on a train. I don't usually take train rides. I mean, we rarely see train rides. I mean, trains running through here in town anyways. But other than that, I enjoyed this. Y'all make sure y'all send me more recommendations. I do have a Google form in the description below. You can fill out, send it to me. I'll check it out. But that's all I have. Hit that subscribe button. Send down those recommendations. And y'all be blessed, be the best, and be you. I'm out.